It's the end of the day with Ray. Hello, my friends. Well, ladies and gentlemen, if you look on the gigantic Sharp interactive board, you're going to see the OEM logos. Above it, it says the probable coming supply chain crisis. Buckle up, my friends. Ladies and gentlemen, I wanted to come to you on this Saturday, work a little bit of overtime, and I want to start a conversation with you, and I want you to get your imaginations cooking. Because over the next few weeks, I'm going to talk about this a little bit more with some more details. But I really want this to stew in the minds of those friends of mine that sell supply and service print equipment. I believe that there is a supply chain crisis on the horizon, and I believe that crisis will make COVID look like a picnic. And I want to ask you all a question. You know, if the end of the day with Ray came and did an episode pre-COVID and said, hey, there's going to be a global pandemic and supply issues are going to be terrible, you better stock up. Well, nobody would have listened. They would have said, Ray, that's just crazy. And most of the industry said, nobody saw that coming, no one prepared. The crisis that I'm going to talk about here today, everybody knows is coming. They're just not thinking about it the way I am. And I want to share those thoughts because I think there's some validity in what I'm thinking. So without any further ado, ladies and gentlemen, I believe the next big supply chain crisis will not be the fact that China invades Taiwan and causes World War III, because that's just hard for people to get their head around. And quite honestly, if World War III is going on, I don't think anybody gives a flying crap about toner and printers. But I think there's something that could happen between China and Taiwan that would actually cause a huge crisis to all the free world. It would cause a supply chain crisis again that would make COVID look like a picnic. And I believe that's a blockade. I believe that if China put in a blockade in the Taiwan Strait, if China started to control the waters around Taiwan, the airspace, I believe they could cause a crippling effect. And the supply chain crisis from COVID would definitely look like a picnic compared to this. And ladies and gentlemen, we can prepare for this or we cannot prepare for this. And I think when people think about World War III, they're less to prepare because, like I said, World War III, nobody gives a shit about toner. But a blockade, the world still goes on. It's a blockade. And the reason I believe that China will implement a blockade, because if they do, they'll cause the free world to shoot first. And I don't think the free world's ready to blow up China warships yet. And so that blockade could last a long time. It could last a year. And so the question is, what can we do about that as an industry? Anytime there's a threat, you got to mitigate the threat. What's the investment to mitigate it? If I don't make that investment and it happens, what do I lose? And somewhere you come up with a strategy. And I believe our industry needs to come up with a strategy. I believe the OEMs need to come up with a strategy. I believe the OEMs need to think differently about their dealers and about themselves and about the relationships they have with other OEMs. I think the industry needs to figure out how to come together to solve this problem before it happens. Because, ladies and gentlemen, I believe we can solve some of the problem before it happens, and it won't be that impactful to the channel. It's just going to prepare the channel. And I believe that the OEMs need to ramp up manufacturing like never before, and the OEMs can't ramp up manufacturing like never before unless they have some commitments from those that deliver it to the end user. I believe that those that deliver it to the end users need to figure out what are they willing to commit to in inventory. What kind of safety net do they want to have? Ladies and gentlemen, we really need to take this serious and think about it. Because the other thing that's a crisis is that the OEMs do quite a bit of business in China. And if you look on the OEM's financials, you'll see that. And if the OEMs can't sell products into China, and that puts economic pressures on those OEMs, how does that affect you as a reseller for that OEM? Now, I want you all to think about this, ladies and gentlemen. We all got to say, hey, when COVID happened, no one saw it coming. Let's just try to deal with it. But we all know, the entire world knows there's going to be something take place between China and Taiwan. It's not rocket science. It's not Ray with an over-imagination. This is reality stuff. Something's going to happen. And it just seems to me it makes more sense for a blockade. We can see what's going on with the blockade of the Middle East. Quite honestly, ladies and gentlemen, I believe that the U.S. and Britain and those little exercises they did the last couple of days, maybe they're practicing. They're studying that situation. And Xi, that ruthless dictator, well, he's studying it too. He's studying the world all around us. But at the end of the day, ladies and gentlemen, if he implements a blockade, it's going to be an interesting play. And I believe we could get ready for it. So stay tuned for more episodes on this. I'm working on some stuff behind the scenes, and I'll share that with you soon. And I look forward to seeing some of my friends next week. I'll be out of the studio. I'll be back in here on Thursday. But everybody watching me knows this. Status quo is the killer of all that'll be invented. Don't get stuck in status quo. I'll see y'all soon.